My favourite tiny camera from Insta360 just had a huge upgrade. This is the new Go 3S. The thumb-sized camera that you can mount almost anywhere now shoots in 4K resolution. It's had a few other nice quality of life improvements to go with, so let's check out what's new. What's up guys, Jack here, I'm at Tech Videos. When I first reviewed the Go 3 last year, the thing that set this apart for me from a lot of other action cameras out there was its size. You can squeeze it through small gaps, mount it in some creative ways for a unique angle, even wear it for some hands-free shooting and capture footage from a first-person point of view. All at 2.7K, which is pretty impressive for its size, but just missing the mark slightly when 4K has become the standard now for so many consumer and action cameras, albeit ones that are larger than this. Well, the new Go 3S aims to address that with a bigger 4K sensor, a 50% faster processor, and some other new features to boot. Insta360 did provide me with one of these to make this video, but this is not sponsored by them. And if you want to check this out for yourself, there'll be links in the description. Looking at the new Go 3S, you can see it is pretty much identical to the old Go 3. There are a couple of things to tell them apart, like the S branding on the action pod. The removable lens cover is slightly larger now, and there's a textured rubber around the camera. The Go 3 only came in white at first, with the black launching later on. Now with the S, you can get it in either colour straight away. And the black is definitely a bit more discreet, it draws less attention to itself. The biggest changes here are on the inside. We've now jumped from 2.7K up to 4K, almost double the number of pixels as before, all in this tiny camera that weighs just 39 grams. The 3S has sharper video with greater clarity, like you can see on the books on the shelf, and it looks like colours have improved both in terms of accuracy and saturation. The 3S has better skin tones, the colours of the desktop wallpaper, and the little tree behind me are a lot more vibrant. This is all powered by a new faster chip to handle all of those extra pixels, and maybe it's processing the colours slightly differently as well. I was worried that the 3S wouldn't be as good in lower light as it doesn't have quite a wider aperture, but I think that it actually looks a bit better, maybe because of that high resolution, or maybe that new chip is doing some more denoising. The 3S just looks better overall to me. And if this is your first time seeing this, I still think that this is such a cool and unique form factor for an action cam. At any time, you can just take the 3S out the action pod, and now you've got this tiny camera that you can mount almost anywhere. I'll show you some accessories later on, but even right out of the box, this has a magnetic back, so you can quickly stick this to something metal. Out of the action pod, you still get to see a live feed from the camera to check your framing and see what you're recording, and you can change and dial in your settings remotely from a few meters away. You want to take this out if you're using it underwater, as only the camera itself is waterproof, which has also been improved. You can now take this down as far as 10 meters compared to 5 with the Go 3, which I'd say is more than enough for most people for swimming and snorkeling, unless you're Aquaman. There is a dive case if you want to take the action pod and the camera as deep as 60 meters. Depending on the shooting mode and settings, you'll get around 38 minutes of runtime with the 3S, which is slightly less than the 3, I'm guessing because of the new, more powerful processor. It recharges via the action pod, which also extends the battery life up to around 140 minutes, although that is 30 minutes less than the Go 3 in the pod. As before, I have been carrying a power bank to plug in for more juice, which I have needed to reach for more this time around. The biggest strength of this little camera is both its size and mounting options. It still comes with this pendant in the box, which you can wear under your shirt and then stick the 3S to wear it like a body cam to capture a hike, and you can quickly start and stop recording by pressing the button on the front of the camera. You also get this easy clip for sticking it to a hat for more of a first-person point of view. If you want to do a reveal shot like this, you can slide it onto the lid of a box for a different angle. Check out my new gym shoes in case you didn't know, I do really like the colour orange. I did the same kind of shot here as well for the pizza box. I even used it to mount to the bumper on this RC car to get this super cool low-down perspective for some driving footage. The pivot stand is also included. This aligns itself magnetically to the action pod and locks itself in place. It has a standard 1/4 inch 20 thread for mounting to the new flexible sticky base, which you can now stick to both flat and slightly curved surfaces. Stick it to the windshield in your car to record yourself, or if you want to film the road on a road trip. Or you can get this optional 2-in-1 tripod, which acts as both a stand and an extendable selfie stick for vlogging. The flip out screen here comes in really useful. If you want to go even smaller, you can also just mount the camera directly to the stick. And now you've got this super slim and narrow form factor for pushing and pulling the camera through all of these tight spaces and really make use of that unique perspective from such a tiny camera. I also used it with the new Flexi sticky pad to mount to the roof of the RC for another shot from the car's point of view. There is a slight delay on the live feed to the action pod, so you do still need to have to watch where you're driving. But I love this angle. The camera is so small and light, you can stick it pretty much anywhere. The monkey tail is a great one to get. You can wrap this around a pole or a branch to mount the camera in even more places. Last year with the Go 3, we had a much better summer here in the UK, and I used the camera out on bike rides and hikes and mounting it to water pistols and drenching my poor nephew. Even straight out of the box, there is a lot you can do with the included accessories. The UI is largely unchanged and it feels very familiar to Insta360's other cameras. The standard video mode goes up to 4K resolution at 30 FPS. You can swipe in from the right to switch to manual settings for shutter speed, ISO, white balance. The auto mode does a great job of keeping up with any changing lighting conditions, so I have just left it on that for now. With the 4K sensor upgrade, we also get a built-in digital 2x zoom now, so you can punch in and get a little closer to the subject. The 3S can now detect whether you're in portrait or landscape and adjusts accordingly, so there's no need to have to manually change your settings like before, which also gives it a new tilt correction feature. So if you're not quite holding it level, it will automatically adjust up to 10 degrees of tilt to keep things nice and parallel with the horizon. For this shot, I had to take off the lens guard, but this camera is so small that I even managed to slide it into the RC car for this perspective from the driver's seat. And even though I couldn't quite get it to sit level, it didn't matter because the auto correction just sorts it out for you. Free frame mode is still here, and this is pretty cool. This shoots in 4:3 using the entire camera sensor, and that means that after you've recorded something, you can recrop it into either horizontal or vertical for sharing on YouTube or social media, whatever you want to do, using a single clip. We've also got time lapse and time shift for speeding up a scene. The latter is a great one to use for a road trip. You can use the motion ND effect in the app after to apply a nice motion blur as well. Slow motion shoots in 2.7K at 100 frames a second, or you can drop it down to 1080p to go even slower at 200 FPS. You can download the clips from the camera to your phone using the Insta360 app, and this lets you trim clips, you can add filters and edit the look of your footage. And you can use your phone kind of like the Action Pod. You can use it to view a live feed and tweak and change your settings remotely. The 3S now has new gesture controls. You can hold up your palm to start recording or take a photo with the peace sign. You can cancel a recording by holding down the record button if you make a mistake. But one of my favorite new additions is this now works with Apple Find My. So you can add this to your items in the Find My app and then see its last location. You can play a sound to help you find it and get a notification if you accidentally leave it behind. And this is awesome, so please, Insta360, add this to all of your cameras. All in all, the new Go 3S is definitely more of a spec bump than a big jump. You can kind of think of it as like the S series of iPhones that Apple used to do. The bump to 4K is a welcome upgrade. The footage looks better than ever with the extra detail and more vivid colours. The form factor remains the same, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I love that you can take it out of the Action Pod and then you've got this tiny little camera that you can mount in so many ways and then snap it back in to use it more like a traditional action camera with that flip out touchscreen. Gesture control, better waterproofing and Find My support are all really great additions, but does it all add up to a worthy upgrade? Well, if you're completely new to the Go line and you're looking for a tiny camera for travel or vlogging, or an action camera for when you don't want to use your phone, then I think that the 3S is a no-brainer. It's only a few bucks more than the 3. If you already have the 3, then the good news is that you can just buy the Go 3S camera separately and use it with the Action Pod that you already own. So you can use both cameras now to capture the action and then have them both paired to a single Action Pod. But unless you need 2 cameras, then I don't know, you might want to wait for a bigger potential jump up from the Go 3 in future. Links to both the Go 3 and 3S are in the description. Check out my review from last year to see some more shooting ideas when the weather was a lot better. Still waiting for summer this year in the UK. Hit the like button if this video helped you out, drop any questions in the comments below, and subscribe and hit the bell to see more tech videos from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.